Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Week 8 recap of the NFL this week. I'm going down my list of all my picks. And going by my picks look about as bad as the Eagles defense did this week. We're going to start out with that Philly game where Atlanta just walked all over them. I mean, if you want to take any solace in the Philadelphia Eagles defense, you could say they did well against the run, but pretty much that's because Atlanta did whatever they wanted to them in the passing game. Matt Ryan just did whatever. The natural, what they call him over in NFL Network. Me, I still like Matty Ice. He just walked over them. He just got in the first 4 drives. They scored like it was nothing. So, it should have been. The Eagles was lucky to keep it at 30-17. So that was the final score in that game, 30-17. First round pick for me, Miami and the Jets. That was a disaster. Just as I thought. See, this is what I thought the Jets were going to look like when the injuries first happened. Then 2 weeks later, their next 2 games, they actually showed that they had some kind of heart, some life. Then they go back and do this to Miami. And the crazy thing, Tannehill went down early in the game. Matt Moore comes in and Matt Moore destroys him. I just don't get the Jets sometimes. 1 minute you think you're giving them props, and then the next minute, boom, out the door. New England, St. Louis. At least I got that one right. Didn't think they would blow them out by that much. Ended up with score 45-7, but Tom Brady showed out. St. Louis playing from behind. Like I said in the preview, you don't want to get into a shootout with them because this is the kind of game it'll be. So they didn't succeed in the running game. They tried to air it out. You get blown out. Washington and Pittsburgh. Another one I called wrong. So what's that right now? Out of the first 4, I already missed 3. Washington, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh showed they still have some legs left in those old legs. So the defense did enough. Although I give them credit, but at the same time, 10 drop passes for the Washington receivers. RG3 couldn't do with it, but so much. He put it there. Guys were just dropping the balls left and right. And those are just 10 drops that they, legitimized. Otherwise, he didn't miss the ones where they got hit and different. It was a disaster for Washington. So I guess they're going to have to worry about bouncing back for next week. Seattle and Detroit. Another one I was off on. Seattle had been holding people down, doing a good job. It looked like they were about to start out and win that game, but Detroit got rolling. Which I said they were a talented team, but you never know what you're going to get. So you got the good side today. They actually was able to score against Seattle. Came down to the stretch, and again, Detroit has been able to play very well in the 4th quarter. Came up, finished it off, won the game by 4, 28-24. San Diego and Cleveland. Out of all the games, that was the one I was the most worried about, because even on the poll, on the page, I picked them as the most likely to have the upset, because Cleveland had just been there all season with everybody. No one has really just beat up on them. They were right there with every game, and I guess it was due time for them to get over the top. And against San Diego, who's a team that's struggling right now, 7-6. They only scored 1 touchdown, but the defense was able to hold San Diego down, which was surprising. So never know what you're going to get in the NFL. So there's another bad one. Carolina and Chicago. The way my games were going and the way this game was going, I was like, oh, man, I think I'm about to lose another one. Carolina played well down the stretch, but they gave up that last-minute touchdown. Jay Cutler looked horrible. The running game and the defense is really what kept them in this game. And this defense has been awesome all year. Like I said before, they score. They don't not only make turnovers, they score. And this is what happened. 30, they got a big 27-22. They won by a couple of points in one round of the stretch. So Indianapolis, Tennessee. Another close game. This one even went to overtime. I knew it would be tough, like I said, but I gave Tennessee the slight edge at home. And Chris Johnson has been starting to run, and he's getting his form back, but it just wasn't enough to get this one done. Indianapolis, Andrew Luck, boys pulled it off. Overtime win, Indianapolis. So we looking down at the list right now. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of 8, I've gotten about 2 so far. The Jaguars and Green Bay. Well, that was the one it was self-explanatory, but even then that game was actually a lot tougher than it was supposed to be. 24-15 Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers kind of came on a little bit at the end. Losing Jordy Nelson, I guess, would hurt, but they still had enough firepower to be able to take care of them. But it was a lot closer than I would imagine, especially with Jones-Drew being out. Oakland and Kansas City. I guess I had to get something right, huh? And Hayward Bay. Who would have known? He probably jumped up and he's probably getting snatched up all over the waiver wire in fantasy football right now. I'm not buying. He had a great game, but I'm not buying that one. So they did enough to win. They pulled it off. Good game for Oakland. New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys. Wow. A game where it started out where I actually turned. Giants jumped out on them. I mean, just straight manhandled the Cowboys. Pick after pick, running it back, scoring. Jumped out to a 24-0 lead. I don't even need to watch this game anymore. It's a wrap. Come down. Cowboys marching back, and come down to Dez Bryant's hand, barely missing that line from a Dallas win, which would have been a huge comeback, upset. But the Giants, they have to be careful because their last few games have been very close. And although they seem like they were in sync before this game started, careful, because I guess you're the champions. Everyone's going to come at you. So, but they were able to hang on. They got one more playoff, but they were very fortunate to get that win. New Orleans, Denver. Peyton is back. I mean, he lit them up. Demaryius Thomas. I mean, every play he caught was a big play. He was hitting Decker. I mean, the running game was going. Everything was going. Peyton just ran the game. He looked like the Peyton of old. I think he's starting to get it back, even though he almost had a little bit of a scare hitting his thumb on the helmet. But he was able to work through that, play through it, and he's looking more like the Peyton of old, and Denver has become a serious danger in the AFC. San Francisco, Arizona. Kind of figured that would happen that way. And San Francisco defense has pretty much just shut Arizona down. I think actually Kevin Kolb gives them a better chance. They play better, a lot better under Kevin Kolb than they do with John Skelton. So I don't know what they're going to do up there in Arizona right now, but they're going to have to get some questions answered because Skelton hasn't been doing well. But then it's San Francisco defense, so you didn't expect them to do but so well because this defense has been pounding everybody all year, but they could have mustered a little bit more than 3 points, especially on that one play where he had the little easy lob over the top of Larry Fitzgerald. They overshot him by 10 yards on a little lob play when wasn't as much pressure in his face. So I guess it had started rattling Skelton a little bit. That's all. That's it for this week. Recap for Week 8. We have. Well, since the first game is going to be Thursday, I'll start my prediction a little early just for the Kansas City and San Diego game. The game is in San Diego. Kansas City actually seems like they're starting to get a little bit back because, I mean, the running game, Peyton Hillis came back. Brady Quinn went down. So, I mean, they ended up having to go right back to the quarterback they had from before. The running game should be strong. San Diego is just on a downturn right now. I don't know what's going on over there. They just can't seem to get it done. They have way too many weapons to be playing as bad as they playing. But that being said, that's going to be a tough call. But I'm going to roll with the home team on that one, give San Diego the win. And I'll be back for all the Sunday's games in the next NFL preview. And stay tuned. NBA season gets underway tonight. And I'll be doing a preview of each division, seeing who's going to win each division, who's going to be the best teams, who's going to win it all, the whole nine. And I'm going to get each one by division, so that'll be coming soon. And as for tonight, the Celtics and Heat game should be an interesting one. I think Celtics are going to be able to pull it out, even though it's in Miami. A nice little preview with Ray Allen going against his old team and get it on out the way early. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys soon. Herman Austin signing off. All Sports Central.